Hello everyone, I am Alexa Donne, and today I am fanning myself with some dollar bills and a 5, 10, and a 20. No, I am talking about money some more, and I mean this is pretty accurate for like what you'd get from a publisher for an advance, right? A cool $36? No. I think I'm so funny. Yeah, whatever. I'm talking about more publishing money today, and in fact, after I posted the first video, I thought, you didn't even talk about why it's a bit taboo to talk about money in publishing, so that is what I'm going to be talking about today. Why the publishing industry is a bit cagey about money, and also some really helpful deal terms that you might want to know so that you can start to get a sense of what books are selling for. But starting off, so why is publishing so cagey about money? Well, maybe because it's just kind of tacky to talk about money. It is. I mean, your mother always told you, don't ask people what they make, and don't talk about politics or religion either, at least that's what my mom told me. But in general, we don't really talk openly about money and about what money people make. It's ironic given our lovely capitalist society, but we're very closed when it comes to discussing money. And also just practically, one reason authors don't go, hey, I got $200K for my book deal, is that it can spark jealousy, bitterness, it can ruin friendships, and then there's just a matter of leverage. On both sides, if everyone was super duper open about publishing money, the publishers might lose leverage, agents and authors might lose leverage, and or publishers and authors, agents might gain leverage in some cases, and nobody wants all of that public and out on the table. Because again, it's just tacky to talk about. But honestly, I really wish people did talk more and at least slightly more transparently about money, which is the entire reason I am doing it here on my channel. Because over the years, I've made friends with people who are authors, I've talked to agents, I've read anything I can get my hands on that is a bit more candid about how money works in publishing. And it's been so useful to me to have more of those tools in my toolkit so that I can set my own realistic expectations and also just know the difference between being hosed and getting a good deal. And as I mentioned in my last video, advances are not as high as you think they are, and they don't go as far as you think they do. And my next video is going to be all about breaking down advances, including six-figure advances with the agent fees and the taxes and the payment structure so that you can see what that money actually is. And I think that if we know these things, we can, as authors, better prepare ourselves for being in this industry. Now, it's not all secret. There are some indicators that you can find publicly posted of what people are being paid for their books. Typically, you're only really going to know this on the higher end of the scale, because obviously when something's really, really big, that is when people tend to talk about it or brag about it or report it as newsworthy. So it's really the lower end of the scale where things are a lot less transparent, the irony being that most people are getting money on the lower end of the scale, the normal end of the scale. Most people are not getting six-figure advances. But if you pay attention to Publishers Marketplace, they have something that's called deal terms. Not everyone uses them. It is up to the discretion of the agent reporting the deal. But typically, again, if you have a higher amount of money coming to your author, you want to show that off. So higher deals are more likely to use these deal terms. Those deal terms are nice deal, very nice deal, good deal, significant deal, and major deal. I always mix up the major and the significant because I guess in my brain significant feels like it should be the highest, but it is major. And what those translate to are, a nice deal is anything between $1 and $49,000. $1, guys. So really, anything can be a nice deal. Then a very nice deal is $50,000 to $99,000. A good deal is $100,000 to $250,000. Then a significant deal is $251,000 to $499,000. And then your major deals are anything over $500,000. So anything above $500,000. Of course, when you do get in the higher territories, people will be super specific. They'll say it's a 7-figure deal, aka over $1 million, though typically you don't hear how many millions. And it's so funny because you always assume, oh, they got $1 million for that book deal. And then you talk to people and you realize it's multiple millions, and then you cry into your coffee because you're like, my deal's good and I'm very happy, but multi-millionaire. Though, as I mentioned in my last video, super crazy high deals are not always a good thing, but that is a conversation for a different day. So that is the scale. So when you're looking at deals that are reported on Publishers Marketplace, you might hear that it was a good deal or a major deal, and that gives you a sense of the range. But as you noticed in the higher ends, the ranges are huge. Like, a good deal is anything from $100,000, which is really great but is not quite your day job money, to $250,000, which is also really good but not quite your day job money if you live in Los Angeles, California. And then obviously you get into the significant deal territory, $250,000 to $500,000. I mean, that's a pretty big range. And then major is anything over $500,000. That could be anything. But I find it's really useful to know these deal terms and just pay attention for them, because it gives you a really good sense of which agents are getting really lucrative publishing deals, what kinds of books are getting these publishing deals, and which publishers and imprints are paying that kind of money for books. But like I said, there's that nebulous territory, the nice territory. Anything between $1 and $100,000, that's a huge range, and most book deals fall into that. And I have found that most of the time, agents don't bother to say that a deal is nice because of the $1 to $49,000 range. That's just so, wide. Like, if your deal is only $1,000, that's not really anything to brag about. But $50,000 is pretty good, but there's that range in between there. So my advice to you writers, make publishing friends. Make friends with authors. Like, create your team, your squad. It's all about community and forging relationships with people and then having candid conversations with them. Often authors will talk, and if you're close enough to someone as a real friend, when they get a deal, they'll tell you how much money it is. Like, I'll be perfectly frank with you. I'm very candid about my book deal with my friends because I think that they should know, because knowing my friends' deals helped me set my expectations. But also, my agent negotiated some pretty sweet deal terms, and I like to be like, hey, this is what I got. I'm really happy with my deal. I didn't want anyone to think I made millionaire money, because I really didn't. But I am candid. I am not going to tell the internet in a video because it's tacky. But, there's nothing to be ashamed of with my deal. There's nothing to mega brag about. It was a good deal. But I want my friends, especially those who don't have deals yet, to set more realistic expectations for themselves in terms of what they might be making. Because as I also mentioned in my last video, friends of mine who got deals several years ago got way more money than I did. Deal advances are going down for YA. And so it's just a really good idea to gird your loins. But when you make friends with those publishing friends, don't air anyone else's laundry. When they tell you how much they've made, don't go telling everyone how much money they made on their deal. That is private and personal information. Use it for your own benefit, and then when talking to other people, and this is what I do when I film videos or give advice on the internet, I'll give very, very vague examples with ballparks, but I'll say, this is based on a real person and it's this range for this type of book. But I do not give details and I don't name names. Publishing is like Fight Club. They're just things that you don't talk about. And the Fight Club things you don't talk about are submission, which is also a whole other topic, and money. So make friends, talk to them, learn things, don't talk out of school about money. And then ask your agent lots of questions. Agents have seen way more than any individual or collective of authors have seen. They actually know what realistic ranges of money are. And agents also talk, 9 times out of 10 an agent, even if it's not their own deal or their agency's deal, is going to hear through the grapevine what so-and-so got paid for a book. So you can ask them what to expect and what is realistic and is this a good deal and how does the money work. So talk to your agent. And on that note, make sure you get a good agent. Who your agent is matters. And the real talk when it comes to money is that better agents tend to get better first offers, period, from publishers. Like, a publisher is not gonna lowball a baller agent that they know has a stable of really good and attractive authors, because it's all about leverage. So they don't lowball them in the first place. And then a great agent is gonna negotiate an even better deal. Not just the money, but the deal terms. So you want a good agent to negotiate the best possible terms for you, and you'll have a much better chance of getting one of those good, significant, or even a major deal if you have a really good agent. And last but not least, simply set your expectations super low. Super low, guys. Like, if you are happy to get, $1,000 advance, that would of course come with, other things to make up for the fact that it's $1,000 advance. You'll be so pleasantly surprised if your advance is $10,000 or $20,000, etc., etc. You want to have realistic expectations relative to your genre and what you have written and who your agent is, etc. It's always better to be pleasantly surprised than bitterly disappointed. And just know that everyone else is just as frustrated as you are with the fact that publishing is simply not very transparent about money. But I'm doing the best I can here to tell you what I can tell you without talking out of school or being tacky. And I hope this illuminated a bit kind of why publishing doesn't really talk about money, or why people don't talk about money, period. We don't talk about salaries either. And I do have to tell you, as a woman and as a millennial, I wish we did more. And I do among my friends, especially those in similar industries. I tell them what I make because I want to hear what they make. And I want to have the negotiating power and the leverage when I go in to negotiate my salary to do better. Because once you actually start talking to people about what they make, whether it's salaries or it's book advances, you do sometimes start to notice patterns that have to do with, gender or age or genre or agent, or in the business world, it's mostly gender and age. Millennials have gotten the shaft. And you can better, forge together to have bargaining power to do better. But if wishes were horses, then beggars could ride. And I can wish as much as I want that overall we'd be more transparent in this country and in Western society and in capitalism about salaries, advances, which are essentially salaries, kind of. It's the money you get paid for writing your book, but it is the way it is. Let's do the best we can. And if you see me at a conference or an event, you are free to buy me a drink. If we get on well enough, I'll tell you what I made for my book deal, probably. Unless my agent sees this and tells me, "What are you saying? Don't do that." But, there's no shame in being a bit transparent on an individual level. But overall, people don't want to talk about money, so that's it. That is why publishing doesn't want to talk about money, some tricks for how you can kind of find out what some people are making with those deal terms, and really just make friends and don't be a gossip. That's publishing money in a nutshell, really. But I've got a lot more coming over the course of Money Month, videos about money and publishing. As I mentioned, I'm going to be doing one that breaks down advances. I'm going to show you guys a spreadsheet on the screen with formulas. It's going to be so fun, guys. I love my spreadsheet. I'm going to go over a variety of advances, including six-figure advances. I've also got one coming about don't quit your day job, or who can quit their day job. Can you live off book money? I'm really looking forward to sharing that one with you guys. I have so many feelings about that topic, and I think it's a question that a lot of people have. What money do people really make from books? Why don't people talk about it? Can you quit your job? Etc., etc. So thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe and hit the notification bell to find out as soon as I post a new video so you can hear all the cool money stuff first. If you liked this, please give the video a thumb up. I'd also love to hear from you down in the comments. Questions, suggestions for other topics. Money Month, I've got several weeks. I was planning a video a week, but if there's an overwhelming demand for topics and questions, I might do more. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, happy writing, everyone.